Okay, if you look at the how many templates you have, you only have 3 templates for today. Okay, these are the most popular forms of an equation, of a linear equation. The slope-intercept form, the y equals mx plus b. This is used specifically for graphing. The number, once you get the y alone, the number in front of the x is called the slope. And the b is where it crosses the y-axis, or the y-intercept. Okay, the one we're using today is called a point slope form. Maybe you haven't used it, but this is what you would use in higher level math classes. AP Calculus and College Algebra uses y2 minus y1 equals m x2 minus x1. I don't really put the 2's in there though. Some books do. I just leave it as y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. What you need is, in this problem, you need to know what the slope is for this problem. So you need to fill in the m, and you also need a point. So you need a slope and you need a point. The slope is m, and the point is the x1 and the y1. And that's why it's called point slope form, because you need a point to do this, and you need the slope to do this form. Okay, so we're going to use this all 2.4. This is the only formula you're going to use, and it will be on the test. So if you forget it, it'll be on the test. I'm going to rewrite it though. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay, write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that has a slope of a -2 and passes through the point -4, 6. Again, in order to use this formula, you need to know what the slope is, and you need to be given a point. And guess what? We are given the slope, and we are given a point, so we can use this formula. So, in place of m, I'm going to put a -2, because that's what m stands for, is the slope. I'm going to leave the first x alone, and you leave the first y alone. Where do you put the -4 and the 6? Well, the -4 stands for an x, so you're going to put that right in there, but you have a negative of a negative, which makes it a +4. This one stands for the y, so that's going to go for y1, which is y minus 6. Okay, they want you to put it into a slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So my next one is y minus 6 equals, the distributive property gives me a -2x minus 8. So y equals a -2x. If I add 6 to a -8, I get a -2. Final answer, y equals a -2x minus 2. Okay, let's do another one. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that has a slope of 0 and passes through the point 5, -7. Okay, we're going to do y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. In place of the m, you're going to put the slope, which stands for 0. In place of the second y, you're going to put a 5, so it's x minus 5. In place of the second y, you're going to put a negative of a -7, which ends up being y plus 7 equals 0 times anything is 0. So y equals a -7. If you remember from the last set of notes, if you only have a y, if you remember, it makes a horizontal line. Horizontal lines have slope of 0, and that's why it makes sense. Okay, let's do this one. No, let's talk about one more before we move on. Let's add it. The slope, you have no slope, and it goes through the point 2 comma 1. If you remember by my little picture from 2.3, what type of a line has no slope? A vertical line has no slope. Every vertical line starts with the letter X. If you remember this from 2.3. No slope makes a vertical line. X equals what number? Well, X equals the number 2. That's all you do for this one. You can't do y minus y1 equals m, x minus x, because remember, no slope only has one letter and only has the letter x in it. So be careful with that one. Okay, now we're just going to keep going. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through 2, 3, and 5, 6. Again, this will be on the test. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. The difference between this problem and the ones before it is they gave you the slope. We have to come over here and find the slope by doing 6 minus 3. The y's go on the top and the x's go on the bottom. You get 3 divided by 3, but in reduced form, 3 divided by 3 is 1. That's called the slope. In the last couple problems, they gave you the slope. In this problem, you have to find the slope. And we learned how to find the slope back in 2.3. Now, you have to fill in the second x and the second y, and you have 2 points, so you can choose which set you want to use. I like using the first set all the time, but if you want to use the second set, it doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer. Place of x, I'm going to put a 2, and in place of y, I'm going to put a 3. Y minus 3 equals, if you do the distributive property, you get x minus 2. So y is equal to x plus 1. Okay, the last part of the notes. Parallel lines. Parallel lines have the same slope. So if I graph those two, they should be the same. They should be parallel because they have the same slope. Perpendicular lines don't have the same slope. They have an opposite reciprocal. The reciprocal of 3 is 1/3, but it's opposite reciprocal. Again, parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals. So, for the last set of notes, write an equation of a line that is parallel to this one and passes through this point. Again, we're going to keep using the y minus y1 equals the mx minus x1. Well, if it's parallel to this, parallel lines have the same slope, so you can put a 1/2 in there because it has to be the same as that, and passes through a -4 and 2. So the x is going to be x plus 4, and the y is going to be y minus 2. Y minus 2 is equal to 1/2 of an x plus 1/2 of 4 is 2. Y is equal to 1/2 of an x plus 4. Okay, last problem of the day. We're not doing this assignment. I made worksheets for this year, so don't worry about it. You have your packet already. Okay, let's do the last problem. Write an equation of a line that's perpendicular to that one and passes through 2, -2. Again, you're going to get this for the test. I know this stands for the x and this stands for the y, so I'm going to put x minus 2 over here, and I'm going to put y plus 2 here because a negative of a -2 makes a +2. Does everybody see where the x and the y go in our formula? What we don't know is the slope, but we know that it needs to be perpendicular to this slope. In order to find the slope, it needs to be in y is equal to mx plus b. So the first thing I have to do is get y alone. Okay, so once I get y alone, it's going to look like y equals mx plus b. The number in front of the x is called the slope. Well, a negative 1/5 is in front of the x, but it needs to be perpendicular. If it's perpendicular to a negative 1/5, it's the opposite reciprocal. To be perpendicular, it needs to be opposite and reciprocal, which means it needs to be a 5 right there. If it would have been parallel, it would have been the exact same number, negative 1/5. Y plus 2 equals 5x minus 10. Famous distributive property, y equals 5x minus 12. And that's all the notes.